Welcome to the Employment Wednesday podcast with Yvonne Shabangu. Have you heard of the scripture Hosea 4 verse 6? My people perish because of the lack of knowledge. The same applies to your career. When you don't know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, you are likely to make wrong career choices. But worry not. Employment Wednesdays is here for you to offer you all the answers relating to your career and offer you strategies to develop your career. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. You are welcome to another episode of Law Without Borders with Yvonne Princess Shabangu. Today, I'm seated with one of my faves. I'm seated with Mpho Maphate, a University of Johannesburg alumni. She's a graduate of humanities and has a postgraduate diploma in public management.
Degree.
Oh, what's the you
Girl.
Your bio says diploma.
I don't do diplomas.
All right, okay. So it was your typo. Anyway, she's got a degree in public management and she's currently studying for her LLB. And today she is going to share her career journey with us. And she's currently working as a personal assistant, but more of like legal secretary work for an advocate, right? Yeah, and that's just about it from me. If I missed anything, probably going to find out as time goes on. Is there anything you want to tell the people before we move?
No, hi.
That's all. Okay, thank you so much for honoring my invite. Before we go into anything, I'd like us to go into the icebreaker questions, right? So the first one would be, if you had a superpower, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I thought I was watching the other videos to see which ones.
I knew, operating like a lawyer, so I had to switch them up.
Superpower.
Sure.
Yo, Yvonne. What superpower? What's the question again?
If you had a superpower, what would it be and why?
The selfish one can have two answers.
Okay, cool.
The selfish one would be to read people's minds.
Okay.
Right? And why? So that I could counter your thoughts just before you want to say it as, I'm like, don't you dare say it.
Okay.
But I mean, also, who wants to read people's minds? That's so much
Because
work.
it's cringe, eh?
Yo.
The next thing you're seeing, the darkest things happening in their minds. I wouldn't want that.
That's very selfish, for selfish reasons. But other than that, I've never thought of a superpower. Oh no, I know. It definitely came to me. And again, selfish reasons. It's to just close my eyes and I arrive where I need to go. Because driving,
Okay.
I don't enjoy driving. I don't enjoy. I work in Sandton.
Okay.
Sandton traffic. Cloud Lamo.
All right.
So again, if I could get to places quicker,
that would be nice. All right. And what drink best describes your personality? I'm sure you crammed that one. I want it.
And it's so weird because people come with such like elegant drinks. I'm there like, I think I'd be a Long Island.
Okay, it's not bad. I thought you were going to be like, you're going to be a Savannah or something.
Like a lot. And you know why? Because you always ask the why. It's because, well, the last time I remember, a Long Island is filled with so many things, right? So I know myself. I've got different personalities. And I think the most common one people know me for is hopapa. But it's not a lot of times. Like I get into spaces and then people are like, you're lying, you're not shy. Guys, I am shy sometimes, okay?
Yeah.
I know I don't show it because I've got a loud laugh and I talk a lot when I'm in a comfortable environment. But I think a Long Island, because it's nice, number one. Number two, it's long, so you're saving money. So like,
you need water,
yeah,
you're
look
good.
at me, I'm a, like most of my friendships that you'll find, it's people that I've been friends with from a very young age. I think the newer ones, it's people as I grew up and then like you guys, and like, we meet in life. But I'm a loyal girl. Like,
yeah, a long
longevity girl.
Yes, you're a longevity
and I'm
girl.
fun when I want to be.
I hear you. The last one would be, if you were a clothing item, what clothing item would you be and why?
A clothing item? Interesting. It'd be a bra.
Why? That is,
Look, my mind went so quickly because I was like, I'd be a dress because I'm an elegant lady there. I'd be, it holds things together, eh? When the time comes, we don't really like the release.
Yeah.
But we also don't talk about how
keeps you all put.
It keeps you together when you really need it. Because, I mean, imagine you're at the gym and the one thing you forgot is a bra. Look, I sometimes thought I've got big boobs, but I don't until you meet other ladies where they can't survive without a bra. So I'd like to think I'd be that in a person's life. Like if I'm like in your life like that.
You center a person, you hold them together.
Bam.
Okay. I hear that. When I was reading your bio, I found something very interesting where you say your first job, I think it was your first job or your second job, you randomly got a call for an interview and your sister had been...
It was my first job.
Yeah, your sister had been dropping CVs on your behalf.
Without my knowledge.
Yes, without your knowledge. Like, I just want to say a special shout out to her. I feel like that's the best gift you can give anyone.
In retrospect, yes.
Yeah,
but I remember when I got the call because I was like, done with school. I can just chill. Like, as when I say I was literally sleeping on my bed. I remember my mom was doing the laundry. Even like I was like, get a call. I'm like, okay,
what's going on?
Get a call. Hi. Hi, is this Mpho Maphate? Yes. Are you available for an interview? It was a Friday. For next week, please tell us availability. I'm like, sorry, for what job is this? It was to be a receptionist at the time for JDF. I'm like, so please repeat it again because now I know I must Google what the company is about. And then I hang up. I'm like, huh?
What's going on?
Because when I say I had not started looking for a job, like, mind you, university also, just to give you a bit of background, I was one of those people, I didn't like part-time jobs. I knew I didn't want to work part-time jobs. I didn't care for money like that.
Okay.
Like, because the postgrad, in fact, was on a bursary. So in third year, we got invitations to come do the PMG.
Vacation work, okay.
No, the PMG degree because we qualified because our marks we'd gotten distinctions in them. So they offered us the bursary from the department. And it came with a stipend. So I was like, naimali. So I didn't have to bother my mom as well. Because you can understand parents, she was already up to here. After third year, she was like, I'm
good. Yeah.
So after that, I wasn't practical in my thinking that, oh my gosh, now I'm done with school. I have to start a job. Unbeknown to me, my sister had been sending out my CV.
Secretively. So did she prepare a CV on your behalf or she had copies of your CV?
So I don't actually remember, but I think my family is my mom was in HR.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I think my sister was a PA at the time. So we always had to have a CV at home. Like even my cousins know, like, if they're younger, they're asking us now to please check the CV out for me. We compile. So at home, it was a thing. Okay. So we always had to have a CV ready.
Okay.
Because it's go time.
You're not preparing. You're always prepared anytime.
Look, clearly.
I hear you. Okay. That's. I found that very interesting to say, okay, somebody actually took their time. Like, you know what? I've got big plans for this girl's career. I'm applying jobs for her.
She sent to everyone. So I think some of her friends started distributing it. And I met that friend, my sister's friend, when I got to that job. I didn't even know her.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, you're a friend. Hi, thanks.
That's very nice of her. I hope she gets to watch this and
Yeah, because in retrospect, now you look, because a lot of people struggle to get jobs.
Yes.
We know that
and some people even, it's very hard. And some people even tell you that, oh my God, I don't know where to apply anymore. I don't have transportation money to go to physical offices. So, because I know even my dad, my dad didn't do it behind my back. I asked him to say, hey, since you're in different spaces at different times, wherever you see law firms, can you please drop off my CVs? He always had like over 20 copies in his car. So anywhere he gets and he sees an office park and there's attorneys, law firms, he would drop them off. Even when I got an interview, I was so confused how different interviews, I was confused how I was getting them because I wouldn't remember, because he was dropping them everywhere. So yeah, I think it's a really good thing because that's the support we need sometimes.
We do. And can I actually say something that I didn't include is that all of the jobs that I've gotten was always referrals. All the
Nice.
jobs I applied for.
But it was always somebody referring
But all
you.
the ones where somebody was like, I know this girl, I've worked with her, she can do the job. I remember this one job you saw there with Dimension Data. I remember I applied for the job and I actually didn't get it. And they hired somebody else. 3 months later, that girl left. And my friend was like, yeah, I told you. I'm not going to fetch my friend. And indeed, I'd even forgotten about it. And indeed, they called me and I got the job and I started working there.
Yeah, it's always the case, man. It's good to have each other and support one another. So now we're going to go into your business, right? We're going to start with your high school life. As a young girl, what did you want to be?
I think okay. So in high school, I actually wanted to do dramatic arts. I love drama.
I believe
you can
that.
tell my personality.
Yeah.
But I studied drama in high school actually, as a subject, and I did very well in it, and I enjoyed it very much. So I actually wanted to go to AFDA.
Sure.
But AFDA it still is expensive. It's a very expensive school. We tried applying for bursaries, the whole 9 yards. It didn't work out. But I knew that I didn't want to just be at home. I always knew intellectually I can match. I can match it. So I was always afraid of not going to school and then having that period where I'm not getting used to the work
environment and all of that. You're not doing anything.
Yeah, so I was so adamant about after that I didn't apply to any other schools here.
Are you for real?
Like in matric, I applied only at AFDA and when they rejected, I was like,
Ziyakhala manje. Sure.
I was literally 2009, I was literally one of those students running. We know those after people. That's why actually the degree that I've actually ended up completing is BA Humanities. Because I was just like, not my because I am.
Yes, you just took
I
anything.
just gotta be in school.
Okay.
Kitla change kopili, kitla ipona, but I knew I wanted the training. I wanted and I don't know, maybe that thing of friends are going to varsity. You don't want to be left behind.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah. And academically, in high school, I was one of those students. Like when I really worked hard, I look at the top 10 with my friends.
Okay.
And that was nice. But so that's why I enjoyed studying. I still do.
That's a first. Anyone saying they enjoy studying. Okay.
Yeah, like I'd rather study than just binge on TV.
Okay.
I mean, I had that break between the postgrad and my first job, or working rather. And I realized that I could actually go back to school.
Sure.
Because I got the rest.
Okay.
And there's nothing really. You watch TV,
and you're
read food for enjoyments, and then what?
Okay.
So I get people that are permanent academics. Or
yes, academics.
Scholars.
Scholars. Okay. I hear that. All right. So then you applied after and it doesn't work out. You get the rejection. How do you end up at number one university in Africa? Come for me if you will, because how do you end up at UJ, the best institution in the country?
My marks spoke for me.
Okay.
Honestly, because I remember in the lines, they separated us study marks.
Okay. So you just, after incident, you then just moved to UJ?
I ran to UJ that week.
You were like,
I was like, Mama, kupa chalta taxi. I will figure something out.
Sure.
Ran to UJ. So we were one of those students, but it's late applicants.
Yes,
like
the walk-ins.
Yeah, I think now times have changed. They're doing it online. But back then, you actually had to physically be on campus. You had to apply. You had to show your marks. You had to calculate whether you meet a certain criteria for certain degrees. So my marks literally spoke for me, which I'm so grateful for.
Okay.
Because then I got to have the university experience and study and yeah.
So when you guys get there, you walk in and you're queuing, what was the process like? How do they end up picking for you to say you're going to do humanities, or did you have any other options?
Guys. Like, I think I initially wanted comm.
Okay.
But BA was full at the time. I think obviously the previous graduates, abantu bazi ukuthi be the comms. I really didn't want marketing. So then there were student aides, I remember at the time, that helped us with whatever degrees had space in them.
Okay.
And then they'd go through your marks, the
AP score.
AP scores, and then we'd calculate together. Then they tell you which ones qualify. So I think with humanities, what I could do is I pre-selected modules that I wanted to do. And as and when I qualified for them, that's how I did them.
Okay.
That's where like public management comes in, comm comes in, which I failed, which is another story.
How did you fail?
I will go there.
Okay.
But I enjoyed knowledge management and Infoman. That's what they call it. I think it's knowledge management and information management, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So how I failed comm, guys, don't bank in first year. Like, you know the excitement of first year? I missed the one most important class. It stuck with me. It was the first and last subject I failed in my entire...
I'm never failing again.
And I have never failed again because comm taught me that lesson. The one class where friends are like, show me. The scope. Who needs a scope? OMG.
So they gave everything relating to the exam and you didn't get it. You had no friend.
Say I cried. I remember calling my mom and I always tell the story because it's so funny. Calling her to tell her, Mama, que face. That time I was living in West Dean. And you know how West Dean is. I remember my mom saying to me, okay, sorry, ne, marawitsa wa walk and phone e haba ka iutswa. Nanka so khono rekla phone e nngwe. I was like, lady,
I failed and you're concerned about me being marked. Yeah.
But anyways, I failed comm not because I didn't know the work. I just missed the damn scope, and the scope literally was exactly what
everything in the exam.
So I'd never missed a class ever.
Okay. How did that change your university experience or how you saw your studies?
I took it more seriously, hey? Because first year is the shedding year.
Yes.
Ningena ni 1,000.
Yes.
Second year ni 50.
Sure. By the time you graduate, need 10.
By the time you wake up, like it woke me up. That's when I saw, and it's money.
Sure.
Like in varsity, a module is connected to money. Mind you, I was not financed by anything. So my mom had to tabalaza the money for varsity. I remember I always had to tabalaza the registration fees. And then she'd see how we make it through the year.
Sure.
So I understood almost a burden on her as well because she was a single parent. So that's when I was like,
a lot is on the line.
It's on the line. And I think it was 1B, so it was second semester. So then I have to wait for the next year to complete that 1B. So I understood now, okay, I started high school. Like, wake up, girl. And nobody's looking after you like in high school where teachers are always reprimanding you. Varsity, you're on your own.
Sure.
There's nobody babying you. So it made me wake up.
Okay. Do you think high school prepared you well enough for university?
No. No.
Okay.
Like there's a level of discipline that you need in varsity. Like I think look, it can. Not that no is like it's because it's two different worlds.
Sure.
So I think in high school, what kind of sort of didn't help was that from primary school, I was a bright student. I'm still a bright student. So like I didn't struggle with school academically. Like I could get away with it, except if it's numbers. Like I know with maths, I have to ask friends and I have to put in the effort. So I knew what my strengths and weaknesses as well. So academically, I wasn't struggling so much. And in high school, I was almost a teacher's pet. So like I was free when I didn't understand something to always go back to the teacher to ask and ask and ask. So in varsity, there's almost like that separation where it's only in third year maybe that I was comfortable with going to lecture.
Consultations.
Yeah, with consultation. Because in first year, it's just like, ooh, this big world, what's going on, you know?
Sure.
So I think it and I guess it's the nature of the game where varsity is just a different field altogether.
Sure.
It makes you grow up a little bit and it teaches you how to almost find your way. Like every single younger person now that I find that is in first year, I'm like, hey, bambezela. Utabona monatika 30 years.
Yes, when
because
you
in varsity,
matured.
So it's rag week. And our friends had split. So it's we in UJ, then we had Wits, then we had UP.
Everywhere.
So
Yeah.
so
You're moving around.
So we could get away with certain things because academically we knew we could, But I think that class also, like I said, it just woke me up to say it doesn't mean you know it
You need
all.
to take things for granted.
And especially who fails calm.
Yeah.
And
it's always the things God uses to humble you when you're like, who can fail
Like, who
this?
fails
Who would
calm?
fail English?
I mean,
and then that
who
English,
fails
you fail
LO?
it. Yes, who fails LO? And there were people who failed LO.
Exactly.
So that makes sense. What do you wish you knew in high school that would have better equipped you for university?
I think I wish I knew the level of independence that you need. And I say this because my mother didn't have a university experience. I think I only saw from my older cousins, but we didn't really talk about it in depth like that.
Sure.
For me to go back to them to have a referral to say, hey, kanto jwang in varsity. So, sorry, I think I've got. So I think the level of independence and discipline that you'd require, like I think in LO, in matric, they should have a get ready for university.
Yes,
thing.
I think they need to incorporate in LO. You
In
see,
LO,
they teach us a lot about
'cause it's
pregnancy
life
boys, but they need to incorporate get
there
ready.
should be in term 3 and 4 or something.
Sure.
They must get people from university, not just with the career day, but incorporate it into the curriculum.
Sure.
To almost like get them prepare their minds as to what happens, the reality of it.
Sure.
That nobody's going to baby you.
Yes.
There's no Mrs. Flatchayo.
You miss an exam, nobody cares. You just see your marks, it's a zero.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mrs. Flatchayo wanted her homework every day. And they'd embarrass you in front of the class. And so you do your homework because you don't want to be embarrassed. In varsity, there's none of that. They don't care. You miss up an assignment, that's on you. You're not going to qualify. Your year mark is spoiled. Like,
and you can finish your degree without your lecture knowing you, like, physically, by the way.
Even when I say in first year, I used to have 7 o'clock classes. And traveling from Tembisa to UJ.
Sure.
Kosangweni rank. There wouldn't be taxis.
Sure.
My first ever lecture, I missed it. I cried. Varsity.
You just cried.
Cried at varsity. Because the class was at 7 a.m. So I didn't know that I need to at least be at the taxi rank
Earlier.
at like 5:30 for me to at least make it to Joburg
Sure.
by 7. I got to school at 9.
Oh my goodness, you missed the lecture.
Double lecture. I was besides myself. I think that was my first rude awakening of varsity. And like I think my mom, we never actually spoke about all these stories that I had in varsity, post varsity. Because it's the person I call like, Mama, I can miss that class.
Yeah.
Like, now you don't know what to do.
Sure.
There's no principal's office. Like in high school, there's no teacher that you're going to. At the time, you don't know. To say, I missed the class, what do I do?
Where's the faculty? Where the lecturers seated and stuff like that?
Varsity wakes you up, guys.
Sure.
And that's why I said, in hindsight, I'm glad that I fought to go to be in varsity because it prepares you also for the workspace. Nobody babies you at work. You have to know your story.
Sure.
They're there to pay you. They're not there to teach you all the time. Yeah, they'll give you some form of training.
Sure.
But
the details you have to go and look for yourself. You have to deliver. I do love what you say to say, you know what, when it's all said and done, give yourself an opportunity to go to university. There's a post I posted on LinkedIn. I was like, whatever you do, study something and put yourself in a position where you have to submit something on deadline. It enhances your critical thinking skills because you know there's an expectation for you to deliver to someone. And if you don't deliver to someone, there's a consequence. So I do love that university does prepare you for all of that, right? But, okay, now you are done with university. What was your plan? Did you then, what is your plan after getting that degree?
I had no plan, guys. So clearly that's why God was involved with my sister.
Sure.
When I say I didn't think that far, and I was actually thinking about this now, that kept thinking about coming here, I'm like, actually, there are people that don't know what to do next.
Yeah. So you were just studying and then...
I was just studying, and then I think that's why when the postgrad opportunity came, I was like, yes. Like in my mind working, I wasn't thinking corporate. I wasn't thinking, because at home, I think my mom worked in government. She was always complaining. So she was always like, never come to the Department of Health if you come to government. My sister never really spoke about her job. Friend did odd jobs. So in my mind, like I could say where I was. For me, it's like, why am I not acting? Why am I not on the stage? But practically, I was not thinking corporate.
Sure.
I was not thinking, okay, somewhere. I knew what I didn't want, but I didn't know what I do want. It was so weird. So like I knew that I like jobs like waitressing, I wouldn't have the patience for it.
Okay.
I wouldn't. Okay. That's why I didn't do it in university. Almost the price, I must stand the whole day. And there's nothing wrong with those jobs, guys.
Sure.
Because they've got friends that did the odd jobs.
Yes.
Especially boys. Boys did like everything.
Yes, boys are always ready to work, bro. Boys are in their bag.
For me, I was like, no, I don't want that. So when I got that call for the first time, I was like, hey, this is a job. Okay.
Sure.
What do receptionists do? Because also like, it's that transition. It's so amazing how you move in life. Like you move from high school into
uni.
And then uni, there's also that, and then you move
into
you're like,
the
oh yeah,
workplace.
we have to work. And also I saw friends like that did law, for example, fresh out. They were always under so much pressure. They were always. So in my head, I was like,
I'm not sure if I want to work.
To be honest, I did not have a plan.
Okay. You were going to be a rich housewife.
Hallelujah.
I hear you. So now you don't have a plan whatsoever. But also, before we go into the next part, I love what you say, just to take it as a lesson moment, that you didn't know you knew what you don't want. But you did not know what you wanted. At that time. And I think we neglect that point in our lives where we introspect. We're good to say, I don't want to be treated like this. I don't want to do this. But it's always important to also research what you want. And how you can best research what you want. Look at your strengths. Look at your knowing, or your qualifications are your strengths, right? You look at what can you do, your God-given talents. Can you commercialize it? Can you make money out of it? Okay. Can you not? You get the answer. Okay, what qualification am I studying towards, or do I have? What jobs are available? How versatile is it? How much am I going to get paid? How long does it take me to get promoted? You need to, the same way you can put out the things you don't want, put in the possible things you want, or the things that could work for you.
And just to add to your list, what am I passionate about?
Yes.
Because that's also so important. I think over the years, I listen a lot to Dr. Miles Monroe.
If you are not going to mention him, I was going to be like, you're pretending.
If you know. I think only growing up, and he teaches a lot about planning, now. And I didn't know that then. But he teaches a lot about planning, that if you don't plan for your life, somebody else is planning for you.
Sure.
Somebody else knows that they need a certain person to do this position, and you will fill it because they have spoken what they want, but you don't know, but you have what they need. So then you get into their plan.
Yes.
So now in hindsight, I've learned how to plan. Back then, I didn't know how to, and it became a lesson growing up. And we'll talk about it, because when you also don't know what you want, it also delays you. It delays your gratification of finding what you like and what you want. So I admire people that know from a very young age what they want to be. But then there's that fold that we never speak to, which are the people that don't know what they want.
Sure.
And they're there, but they're not really asking the questions like, who can help me? Not everybody knows about aptitude tests. Not everybody knows about personality tests, where if they really don't know what they want, they can actually find out, and there are people that can help them. A lot of people have dropped out of university because they figured, I don't want this. Entrepreneurship is probably my my path, and then they use whatever passions they have, and then they learn as they go, and they only go back to school learning into what they have been passionate about. So we don't all have the same story or journey with how life happens, even in our careers. One of the other sermons that Dr. Miles likes teaching about is doing something with what you have then. So, for example, he made an example about somebody that's unemployed, but at home they've got electricity, they've got an oven, they've got flour, eggs. They could start baking cakes. And I think after COVID, a lot of people also went into we're seeing a lot of chefs, a lot of bakers, because it's people that realize, actually, let me learn.
Yes.
Well, now, even now, we live in an age of social media. Like, there's no way you can't know how to cook. You don't want to know how to cook.
Yes.
You could literally get onto YouTube. You could literally get onto Instagram. But step by step.
Sure. You know, you know, the other day I was listening to a podcast. I think it was by Wisdom and Wellness or something, where they were talking about how on social media there's a 10-step to everything. Every
guys.
single thing. If you're not learning, you're choosing that you don't want to learn. You know.
And I think it's just getting out of that comfort zone, or out of that. Sometimes there's this drag where I don't want to say some call it depression, because depression is a real thing. But some people get into a slug of not knowing what to do, not knowing where to
feeling
start.
stuck.
So there are things that you can do, and we always know what your heart desires. You always know where your heart leans towards. Whether it's a job, whether it's work, whether you love gardening, whether you love creating things with your hands, whether you love people and customer attention and attention. The people that you will genuinely know. It's just about you acting on that knowledge.
Sure.
Sometimes we delay it ourselves.
That's true. I love the whole analysis you gave. I think it just teaches us also to use what you have. I love a lot, like it's preached a lot in church, where they say God has given us everything we need. And sometimes we think there's no way he's given me everything I need. But everything you need is within you.
It's within you.
You just need to,
you
just need to tap into it or lean in more, because many times we think things are going to come. Like I would think, because Mpho got a job, so my blessing is in the job, or my path is in the job. But what I don't know, maybe my path is in starting my own thing. Maybe I'm supposed to employ others, or maybe I'm supposed to make things from scratch. Mpho can get the convenience of getting things that are already done, but maybe I'm supposed to start from ground and all of that. So yeah, I really think it's good that we learn to plan and use what we have, because what we have is more than enough, right? And then now you start your job as a receptionist. How did that look like? What did you do? What was your day like?
So confused. Mind you, I was just this. Look, I've been tiny my entire life.
Yeah.
Okay. People get shocked when they find out my age. So back then, and it was a job as a receptionist at a call center place.
Okay.
So you can imagine the guys. Oh my goodness. It was a mess. Negishelua every day.
Serious.
And I was like, I could never do this, because this is annoying.
Yeah.
But what I think, the girl that I used to sit with, she had been working longer. So I think she was my first reference of what to do on a job. And she was a feisty Zulu girl. So like, she taught me how to just, like,
yes. And she taught you how to stand up for yourself.
Yeah, like the areas of, not my weak points, areas of myself that I've learned how to come out of. I was very timid.
Okay.
Getting out of varsity into the workspace. I was very timid, I was very shy. Like in a space, there's people that can get into a space and they have a total presence and
they take up space. You
couldn't. Yeah. I've had to learn it.
Yes. Also, you can learn to tap out of timidity.
You learn everything.
Okay.
Especially things that are not to your advantage, especially things that as Christians, it's not God-given. We've not been given the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind.
Boldness.
Yeah, we've been given spirit of be courageous and bold. Like these things you learn through scripture as well. You're like, actually, why am I taking on this personality of being shy? Maybe I'm not shy. It's just that trauma or traumatic experiences have led you to think you shy.
Okay.
Because you've been loud and like, hey, warasa. You know?
Okay, I
Always
hear
being
that.
told to, they're shutting off the...
Take it down.
Take it down. Ooh, a lady doesn't laugh like that. Ooh.
No, I hear that. I've been told that a lot. Like, why are you laughing like that?
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
been told that as well. So then you learn to... Also, the beauty about growing up is that you get to know yourself.
Sure.
You get to be comfortable in your own skin. What I think the biggest lesson I was taught as well, I once went to a 30th and I think I was about 25 at the time. And my friend and I were asking these older ladies like, oh, how was it to be 30? They were like, 30 is the best because then you don't care. Like you learn to love you. You learn to be comfortable in your own skin. You stop being a people pleaser.
Sure.
There's an age where you stop being a people pleaser and you get comfortable in your own skin and you get to love yourself.
Sure.
And you also feel it. You're like, actually, kishapo.
I like myself.
As long as you're being kind to people, as long as you're also loving, as long as you're treating people the way you want to be treated,
Sure.
you're good to go. So I think the job there, it got me out of my shell.
Okay.
Also. And I was there for 3 months.
All right.
3 months is not
Did you
too long.
quit?
No, I didn't. So the contract was going to finish. So I was there temporarily. I was
okay.
relieving somebody that was on maternity leave.
Okay.
Again, there, I didn't have a plan. Like, when they told me to contract, I was like, okay, what happens after? Like, I was so relaxed.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how maybe God sometimes wants to orchestrate our lives.
Sure.
Like I said, none of the jobs I've had to apply for. It's always been referrals.
Yeah.
So I've never had to stress about a job.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get frustrated here and there in certain jobs. But like, I've never had to struggle for a job. And
Okay.
that is one blessing that I have never taken for granted.
Sure.
Because it's not everybody's story. You know, other people are struggling. I think a cousin of mine, he got a job after 6 years of not working.
And that's the reality of over 60% of South Africans.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not a bragging thing. I acknowledge that it's a huge blessing on my part that I've never known what it is to struggle or
For a job, sure.
I've never not been without a job. And God forbid I wouldn't be, if I didn't have a job now, I've acquired so much over my over 10 years experience of working that I'd be able to stand.
Sure.
You know, I've learned so much in that space with the tiny little jobs that have built me into the person that I am, that I would survive. I know I would survive.
Sure.
Nkatabalasa. Like,
Yes.
physically,
You would withdraw your 2 pots.
border.
Okay. I love that job. And I think one of the things that I learn as I hear different stories from different people is that when it's all said and done, there's no job that is mundane, because a person can think receptionist, but look at the bold woman it turned you into. It might have been maybe a tedious job, but actually it gave you a characteristic that would carry you for the rest of your career. You know, it set you up basically. So now I consider people that do what you do, like you say technically you do the work of a legal secretary, right? As a personal assistant to the advocate. So for me, you guys hold the practice together, because I mean, if an attorney submits a brief, you make sure that the advocate gets the brief, the research, everything is in order and all of that. So I feel like technically you have the practice running. How do you end up in that space? Were you also referred? Were you prepared for it?
I was referred. No, I wasn't referred. I mean, I wasn't prepared. Look, I was prepared in hindsight.
Yes. Okay.
You know? So what happened with that one, how I landed up in the job that I do, is that at the time I was a quality assurance specialist. And again, with that job, I'd been there for some time, and also I get bored quite easily.
Okay.
But a friend of mine, we used to speak a lot about I wanted to move at the time. And I was like, I don't know what being a PA, but possibly can't be that hard. Like I said, I was happy that I went through varsity, because it like we said, it prepares you almost for the workspace, you know? So when she told me that her brother at the time was looking for a PA, am I willing to try it out? It's like, hey, what do we have to lose?
Yeah.
remember I went there.
So the brother was the advocate.
The advocate.
Okay,
yes.
cool.
I went there. They interviewed me. So it was 2 advocates at the time.
Sure.
Got interviewed on the spot. They want to test my typing speed. I'm like,
On the spot.
I'm like, they like type. And you know how advocates are, they're so serious. I must actually remind my boss about this. Instead of saying enter, also they go indent. I'm like, indent.
What does indent mean?
And then, yeah, so the interview actually went really well.
Yeah.
I left. It didn't even last 30 minutes.
Okay.
I think it was a conversation, really. And then, because now in hindsight, I see that as a PA, you're working for a person.
Sure.
You don't entirely work for an organization. Unlike other structures, unlike other positions. In a
Yes, where you
company.
work for the company.
Yeah, you essentially working for a person. And
Sure.
if you can't, to a certain degree, get along with that person, and by get along, I mean there isn't like a good work relationship. It's going to be very hard.
Yeah.
Because it's very personal. Like a PA, a personal assistant, is really a personal assistant.
Sure.
You should be able to get along with your superiors. There should be common understanding. There should be fairness in the relationship. There should be respect. Like, there's so many things that happen that I remember, even as, like, I don't know, again, how people were getting my numbers, and I would get called because I would get poached a lot. But in my mind, I'm like, let's go learn new people. You know how the legal field is. I'm like,
Yeah, it's a very small profession.
And also, like, I was at the level in my career where I wasn't moving for money.
Yes.
Like, I had to consider many other things outside of money. And like I told you, even before, when I was leaving varsity going, I wasn't thinking
You didn't
about
care
money.
for money. Yeah.
Like, money, yeah, of course, I'm a woman. Like, with money. But, like, I'm not
Money,
even
money.
thinking, like, if you counter offer, I'm like, am I going to be happy there? Must I learn a new person? I'd go also pray about it. Like, God, should I really move?
Sure.
And there was, guys, when I say I love my job. My friends know. I always say, like, I'm one of those people that can boldly say I love my job.
Yeah.
I love my job.
Yeah.
I don't have stress. I've got a good working environment. I've got a very healthy work environment. Doesn't mean my boss and I don't fight. We do.
Well, patela shop.
Bampatala shapo. Like, guys, nake happy. Like, and that's why I carry, like, money is not on my king Mang Mang's pyramid. Who's that person?
I saw, is it the Maxim or whatever, something pyramid?
Whoever's
picture?
pyramid of life, of food, of this. Money's the last thing on my mind. Like,
Sure.
of course, I know my worth. Doesn't mean I'm working for peanuts. It's Sorrel's economy. We must live at the end of the day.
Sure.
But, like, money is not the first thing I think about when I think of moving. Even when I've considered moving from this job, because there is a time I've been there for about 7 years now. So there's a time where it dips a bit. Like, should I move?
Yeah, I'm ready to
Am I
leave.
bored? I'm ready to leave. Start applying other places. Nobody's saying anything. I'm like, is this a sign? So it doesn't mean I don't go through those things.
Sure.
I haven't went through those things in my career. I have. But I think essentially, also, we know we've been having conversations around in restaurants with friends where they're not in happy spaces. Mentally, where they're working, it's so toxic that they end up leaving the job because of the environment and not because they don't want to do the job.
The grass is not, I saw this quote, I think it's by Stephen Ballett, says, the grass is not greener the other side, it's green where you water it.
Where you water it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So when you think about those things, I don't know, maybe some could look at it as a point of fear, but for me, it was just like, am I ready to move now?
Sure.
Would I be willing to take that risk? And with the studying, my job worked really well for me because I'm in an environment that's a legal environment. So I've already built so many networks in and around. I'm able to, when I'm stuck and I don't understand certain concepts,
You can
become my
always
lecturers.
ask.
Yeah. So it's a conducive one.
Yeah.
Where imagine that I had to move and I have to be 100% in my job. It's frustrating. It's this and that. I wasn't willing to risk that.
Okay. Love that. How does your day look like? Masinga TikTok video, a day in my life as a personal assistant to an advocate.
It really varies, hey? Days are not the same.
Sure.
You know how practice is.
Yeah.
Like, days are not the same. The busiest of the busiest is really just making sure all my boss's things, his ducks are in a row.
Okay.
For court, I know that if he's going to court, the files have to be prepared in a certain way. He has to have everything. I almost play your guys' role. I'm not gonna say anything about attorneys, but I must just make sure that there's certain attorneys that are really good where I don't even have to flinch about whether or not that file is in
The
order.
brief, yeah.
But there's certain ones where I have to double check because he doesn't have the time for the small things. So because I've been there for so long, he expects me to know how his file is meant to look like. I have to make sure to know that it's paginated, the index has to be correct. Where pages are missing, I sometimes have to alert him, boss, this and this is missing. They haven't provided it. But if it's in court the next day and we can't put it together, so days are not the same. So that's why a day in the life for me would be boring because some days are really busy, some days are not busy.
Okay.
When court is in recess, it's normally consultation time. But October, November, December, it's the busiest time because now all the matters before recess
need to be heard and all of that.
Yeah, so it's really...
It varies. Okay. So knowing what you know right now about... what made you decide to go into your LLB?
It's the work. Actually was one of our colleagues in the office where he was like, dude, why don't you study? You're already here. We're here. You've built the network. Why don't you actually try it? It's like, LLB, are you sure? I was like, actually, what am I doing with my time? So, and I think, he nudged me so much to a point where he'd be like I want a registration.
I'm that friend. Like, I'm going to force you to do something.
Dude,
and
will
then
you
I'm
be studying with me?
Ask for proof.
And literally after he saw that registration, I remember I kept it a secret from my family and my friends for the first year. Because I was like, am I really doing this? I don't want to tell people.
And then next thing you drop out.
I don't want to be those people that just drop out. Like, if I start something, I have to finish it.
Sure.
That's another thing about my personality.
Yeah.
So... my boss didn't even know the first year that I studied. I think I only told them second year that, I'm studying. And so in first year was 2020, but remember that's the latter part I lost my mom.
Yes.
So I didn't finish the second semester. And then I was like, am I going back? I'm like, I can't use my mom's passing as an excuse for not going back to finish. And then what? It's just, I think first year.
Sure.
And law is interesting though. If you get into it, it's a lot of reading. It is a lot of reading. But the more you get into it, you realize how much we don't know that's going on around us.
Sure.
And I think that's why I got into it because I started enjoying it.
No, I love that.
Next year I'll be done.
Okay. Knowing what you know about attorneys and advocates, what would you pick to practice and why?
So I'm still waiting for the niche subjects that I actually want to go into, which are in final year. But I think I'd want to go into something that's niche.
Okay.
Labor, and
you wouldn't do labor. But would you rather be an attorney or an advocate?
Oh, an advocate.
So you're going...
Angi's lab. Going straight. I'm going straight for the jugular. I'm going to the deep end.
Okay.
And I'm going to swim. And only because I've been exposed to the environment for so
you're already
much.
familiar.
I'm familiar with it. And I know doesn't mean it's going to come easily. That I know. Look, I've seen all facets of the legal fraternity. I definitely go into practice with the knowledge that I have.
Sure.
But like I said, practice also in practice with advocates, it's not this vision board and then loop.
Yes, there's a lot of things that happen in between.
And I think with my life and my story, I've been
roller coasting.
Yeah. So I don't trust in my own abilities. God is there, and I am trusting in Him literally to help with the journey.
Okay.
And,
So definitely the bar. I can't wait to see you as advocate. Angazi mang mang. Maybe we don't know.
Hallelujah.
So to a person, let's say a person who's doing their LLB and they would want, maybe they're starting with UNISA and they want to apply as a PA to an advocate. Do you think advocates, do they advertise their posts at chambers, or is it advisable to actually approach an advocate maybe you may know and be like, hey, I'm not sure if you have a legal secretary or personal assistant. Can I?
Look, I think most of the time from my experience rather, let me put it that way, they don't really advertise. They really work with referrals a lot.
Okay.
With the type of work that they do, I think what I've seen so far, I know how many people have come to me to ask me, do I know anyone who would be prepared to be a PA?
Sure.
But the problem is then they want the person, and I'm like, that's not possible, right?
Sure.
I had to be groomed. I wasn't perfect when I started working
Sure.
out. My bosses literally had to mold me into the person that I am today, because you're going to make mistakes.
Sure.
And with advocates, why you are
A mistake you can Your mistake can cost a person.
every cent counts. Okay,
Yeah.
every second, every minute.
Sure.
So by the time you think you want to work for advocates, you must have a resilient spirit.
Okay.
That's all. Not that's all. Amongst others, you must be very resilient, because it's a fast-paced environment. It's a high-pressure environment.
Okay.
It's a very meticulous environment. Your ducks must be in a row.
Sure.
You can't be all over the place.
Okay. Okay.
So when you know who you're willing to learn, when you know that you know what you're about, when you know that you can learn from your mistakes,
Sure.
then you...
And then in terms of a salary, now when you started, because I know you won't tell us your salary right now,
not.
because how?
Of course not. Tell
When
you when I'm an advocate.
when you started, or a person that's starting up to want to go into that route, do you think it's a decent salary? And if you don't mind, how much are they looking at range?
Yeah, it's different.
Okay.
I used to think we all earn the same.
Okay.
Until, there was a friend of mine, she passed. When I found out how much she's earning, I'm like, why?
Did she earn less than you?
Way, probably half than what I was getting.
Okay.
I was like,
within the same chambers.
I'm like, I'm good.
That's why they tell you guys salaries are confidential, because this is how you'll be telling your friends, Uri,
Because I was like, how? And that's when I realized, okay, no, it's not the same for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's no certain benchmark. I think it also, maybe for me, it came from the fact that I could negotiate from my old job.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So with that negotiation, it almost sets a benchmark, and then obviously every year,
Okay.
But that's why it's not the same for everyone.
Okay.
And you could be doing more work than I am.
Sure.
And then you're getting paid less. Maybe because you didn't know also.
Oh, okay.
So I was fortunate enough that I've always been surrounded with people older than me. So I was like, okay, friend, what must I ask for? Give them a range. Say you want between this and this.
Yes, because
after probation, you want this and that.
I was about to ask that. Okay, in as much as it's different for everybody, but what do you think is a decent amount for a person who doesn't know the job, is willing to learn? What could they possibly ask for?
Well, now in 2024, I don't know.
10,000 in
Yeah.
15.
I think now, well, also it depends. I started with 2 advocates also.
Okay.
So again, maybe there's that nuanced difference, because I started with working with 2 people.
And they paid you separately.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Well, they would figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they first paid me separately, and then it continued. But I could negotiate, because working for 2 people is not the same as working for 1 person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see.
So, but I think now also, do you have a degree or not?
Yes, you have a degree.
Okay.
You have a degree, or you're studying. You're in your LLB.
I think maybe also though, are you working for a junior counsel, a senior junior counsel, a junior senior counsel, a senior counsel?
A mid counsel.
They can start negotiating from around what? It depends.
When you're afraid to tell us your salary. You're afraid to tell us your salary, and I'll end up asking that question. You're pushing me.
Who knows my salary? Mine is just my sister. Hey, guys,
Yeah,
Google
Okay, it's fine. I mean, I'd say maybe you can start from 15K, especially if you've never done the job before. And then maybe after 3 months or when you've proven your worth, then you can ask
Pump
for
it to
more.
18 or
Yes, or
something.
20,
And then- or
25.
20. Yeah,
that could
please.
work.
And high and
we've,
high and high and high and high and high.
We've come to the end of our conversation. I really enjoyed it, getting a sneak peek on what your life, your career looks like. In closing, what is the season of your life?
Gratitude.
Oh my goodness.
I think I'm definitely in a season of gratitude.
Uh-huh.
And I say this because like I said, like in my head, I wasn't those people that think, oh, when I'm 20, I want this. When I'm 30, I want this. Oh, I will be married. Oh, I'll have kids. Guys, I wasn't that person, right?
Sure.
Like, I think I was just flowing with life. Like, okay, sugu pimanje. And then curveballs get thrown at you during life. I think we grow up. Something I wanted to bring up earlier is that sometimes we like comparing our lives to our counterparts, but we don't know their journeys and their struggles, right? So I'm in a season of gratitude. I'm in a season of contentment. I'm in a season of just thanking God for where I am and for who He has made me to be and the people that I have in my life. I'm happy. Like, I'm content. And there's seasons where you don't
Yes.
see that actually other people would literally die to have it.
Sure.
You know, because we're looking at other people. And remember, I'm engulfed with people with money. So it would be easy for me to say, oh, yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm very content. Like, I'm very thankful to God for where I am in my life. Like, I'm in a season of gratitude.
Okay. Love that. Thank you so much. A book you would read, you've read twice, but you'd still read again.
It's definitely Chimamanda. Ceiling, kind of what's Americana.
The name of the book is called Americana.
Americana.
Okay, I'll check it out. Is it fiction?
It's so fiction. Like, please read it in December. When Mrs.
Aye, man,
50 steps of success.
Why are you guys reading fiction?
Please, on a vacation, I will fully 50 steps to be successful woman in labor court.
Okay.
When you're on an island somewhere, ukogi bikini with sparkling water on the side, please pick up that book. You
Americana.
Americana, green cover, Chimamanda Adichie. Please.
I will buy it ASP and keep it.
You will laugh. Like, it's a funny book. She's a brilliant writer.
Okay.
Like, because now I study, I don't for enjoyment, I don't do your 15 steps of leadership.
All right, love that. I'll check out the book. To everybody at home, thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you will use it to your advantage. Do not forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Happy Employment Wednesday.
Yay, thank you.
Cheers.